Here we go. Perfect. Excellent connection. Golden. Alrighty. Check the sound real quick. Testing the sound. So I'm just gonna have to speak up. That's fine. All right. That's a bright light behind me. What's up, everyone? It's been a while, hot minute. Once again, things I want to go over. Some things I want to go over is fake martial arts, the myth, the different types of phonies out there, and including ninjutsu. Now, thing about ninjutsu is that's a touchy topic. Ninjutsu, there is a martial arts that's based off all the things that they teach, but I've been in different circumstances where, let's just say I've been around people who believe that ninjutsu is some mystical, magical martial arts that allows you to disappear without being noticed, or throw shuriken. That one kills me. The shuriken thing. Shuriken did not come from the shinobi. Shuriken actually came from the samurai. And the difference between the samurai and ninjas, most believe that ninjas are all Chinese. That is not correct. Just ninjas in general, the term does not exist. Well, it does, but it doesn't. In popular Japanese culture, the term ninja was never used. It was known as, they were known as shinobi. And here's a shocker. Japanese samurai could be considered ninjas, and they were. Basically, it's anybody who's willing to do espionage, destroy things in secrecy, seek out information with so-called spies. I mean, there's nothing new to that today. I mean, heck, you could call our Secret Service, our parts of the government, military, shinobi, I guess. They do the same type of tactics, espionage, So it was a big misunderstanding, misconception on a lot of people's parts about ninjas. Now, again, back to the martial arts aspect of it. Yeah, I absolutely believe that there is, Aikido involved, and Aikido, I'm sorry, and different other types of martial arts. I mean, they all came from somewhere, right? So to have ninjutsu be something completely made up is not true. It is all based off different styles of other martial arts, just like I gotta say, Taijutsu is another one that's based off popular Japanese culture. Even TKD based off Aikido. So taking people off balance was based off wrestling. There's roots to every type of martial arts. The difference between all of them is the different variations. How effective are they? It concerns me that people believe that they're able to grab somebody's wrist and flip them around like a rag doll. Yeah, if you can grab their wrist, but majority of the average public aren't going to be able to grab somebody's wrist as easy as that, especially somebody who's much bigger and stronger than them. That's not going to happen, especially if they themselves are trained and using natural reflexes on top of their knowledge. That just makes it much, much harder. If somebody throws a punch at you, what is your natural reaction? To block, to dodge, to move out of the way, right? Well, what's your reaction when somebody grabs you? Same thing, pull away, get away. So if somebody grabs you, say the average person gets grabbed on their arm, what is the victim going to do? He's going to pull his hand away, right? So that's looking from a victim's point of view. Now look at the attacker's point of view, or somebody about to engage in a fight. You think you're going to grab their hand? Well, guess what? Chances are, no, you're not. It takes experience, it takes time to develop your reflexes, because people are going to be faster and stronger than you. Yeah, it's the average public, but at the same time, if somebody, let's say, what do you think street fighters are? They're people who get in fights on the street, and some of them do it quite often, so they know how their body mechanics work. They know what to expect from another person on the average person. That goes the same thing with attackers. Attackers don't always have to be inexperienced. They always look like fools on YouTube. Well, yeah, because it's entertaining. If you get somebody who knows what they're doing, well, that's a very dangerous situation, and that does not end well. If you try to so-called grab an attacker's arm, and they're prepared for that, and they have a knife, and they had it concealed, well, you're just getting stabbed repeatedly. There's no sugarcoating it. You're going to get maimed badly, or you're going to die. When weapons come into play, it becomes a much bigger factor and risk of life or death. At that point, well, first of all, you should be aware, and hopefully this video helps you be aware that it shouldn't get to that point. The best thing you can do is to de-escalate the situation. Drop your ego. As much as people like to backtalk and talk trash to each other, it's not worth it. Is it worth your life versus talking trash to somebody else? I mean, yeah, you win the conversation or you don't. Congratulations. What'd you get out of it? A bunch of blood. It's not worth it. I mean, it is very important to train as if, as much as a real life scenario were to happen. But the mentality behind a true martial artist isn't to engage in as many fights as you can. It's to have the knowledge to protect yourself and the people around you, but don't be stupid either. It's not always needing fists. It's not always needing extreme measures of how can I disable somebody? How can I hurt them or show off my ego by doing kickflips or some type of tricking? That's what it's known as, with people doing all the so-called ninja jumps and flips and parkour kind of things. Well, update on that. Parkour itself did not come from ninjas or shinobi. Parkour itself came from actually medical staff wanting to get to the patient or victim quicker. It's for them. It was a method developed so they could dive, roll over tables, obstacles in their way, so they could get to a patient or somebody in medical need, because always time is a factor. So just, putting knowledge out there. Hopefully you'll share it with your friends and family and whoever, and if this keeps you safe, wonderful. When you look at situations where people are being attacked, where are they being attacked? In the dark. If it's on the streets, cool, but you can see around you, except most of the time people are engaged in one-on-one confrontations. They don't realize the people behind them. They don't realize that in that crowd where everyone's pulling out their phones, there's that person who just doesn't care and who's a friend of that other guy who's just waiting for the opportunity to blindside you. Yeah, you're going to get sucker punched. And even if you win the fight, so-called win the fight, against the person you're having a confrontation with, turn your back. You're going to get blindsided. That won't be recorded. So, give or take, it's very important to have a plan B and C, not just a plan A. Just be aware of your surroundings. If you're going to meet up with somebody, first of all, make sure you know the person. Second of all, make sure it's in a public area. And if you're going to leave, and this goes on some dating safety as well, if you're going to go to a public area and the person wants to leave and go back to their place or whatever, and you don't know them that well, don't do it. Schedule another time, get to know them a little better. Do some research before going out places, and especially in places that you're very familiar with, so you think, that's where most people like to attack, because that's where people feel the most secure. So if you're running to your car, be aware of the lighting, be aware of what's around you, who's around you, sounds, cars pulling in, cars driving out. Just be aware of all of that. That doesn't mean to be paranoid. Awareness does not mean paranoia. It means keeping yourself safe and those around you who are close to you safe as well. There is absolutely no reason to engage in a confrontation. Even if you see somebody doing something illegal, let it be. As much as there's, the controversy of calling the cops, call the cops. It's not worth your life. And if it's a sting, not from the cops, but from the attackers, well, guess what? You just got suckered in. You see a helpless victim getting beaten up. Well, guess what? That helpless victim then jumps you, and now all their friends are jumping you. Was it worth it? No. So, it's important to keep yourself safe. Don't play the hero. This isn't a movie. You're not going to escape without a scratch. If by any chance you did, thank to God that you're still alive and that you don't have any puncture wounds or internal bleeding or hemorrhaging, because that's most likely what's going to happen. Or you're going to get knocked out, and hitting your head into the pavement, I wouldn't recommend that. So, let me just say this. Getting hit by a equivalent of a 2x4 metal 2x4 in the head was not fun. And I'm still recovering from that. So, yeah, let's add in the other factors of hitting your head in the pavement and, using... It feels like my head sometimes is a chopping block. I just recommend not getting in confrontations. It's not worth it. On top of that, you don't know who you're getting in a confrontation with. If you pick a fight with the gang, well, let's just hope they don't put you on their hit list. So that's just me being real. In terms of knowing your exits, your best exits to stop a confrontation is, one, don't do what I'm doing right now, which is raise my voice. I have to, so you guys can all hear me. But, one, lower your voice. It will most likely calm a person's aggression down. And even if they're screaming and yelling, if you do the same, people feed off each other's emotions. There's no way around it. It will elevate their anger. It will elevate your anger. Now you're in a screaming match, and now it's about who's going to throw the first punch, or is their friend, or, many what ifs, but they're all real. If you think that people are just going to attack you straight up with weapons and in their hand, or with a bunch of other people, or even one other person, it's not always the case. They can use a car, they can use whatever means of aggravation, destruction, and anger they want. There is no rules in a street fight. In real life, there are no rules. There's no, okay, let me take off my glasses, let me, sit down for a few seconds. Fights end in about, 4 to 5 seconds, depending on the severity, but majority of them are going to end very fast. You're not going to have time to be like, okay, you know what, let's get all these YouTubers around me and people with their phones and let's draw this out as much as possible. No, you're just going to get rushed, stabbed, and now what? It's not worth it. So, again, biggest thing, be aware of your surroundings, drop your ego. Now, for protection-wise, this is a tricky one as well, because anything you use to defend yourself with, if it leaves the other person in horrible maimed shape or dead, you're going to jail. There is no, unless you have an amazing lawyer, there's no way around it. If you were to attack somebody because you see them running from somebody else, how do you know that wasn't the victim trying to escape the attacker? Now you've aided the attacker. So, there's many different possible scenarios, but your best one is just stay out of confrontation and be aware of your surroundings. Now back to safety. For me, there are certain places I would carry certain weapons, I guess. But at the same time, if I don't want to, if I know I'm going somewhere that isn't going to allow certain objects to be carried, then I'm going to carry a comb, a strong plastic comb. Why? Because it can be used as a shiv. First of all, you got the strong plastic prongs that, if you scratch somebody across the face with that, yeah, it's going to get their DNA on it, and you can impale somebody in the eye. This isn't pretty. Self-defense isn't supposed to be pretty. Now, UFC fighters and MMA, yeah, it can be argued that, they're extremely brutal, but they still have rules. And if out in public, yeah, I'm sure they could absolutely kill somebody. They have every tool necessary to kill somebody with their bare hands. However, the misconception is what they do in the ring versus what really happens in reality, in real life, when being attacked. For ladies or women, even girls, don't hesitate to give it everything you've got. Train yourself. Have somebody, go to classes of self-defense. It may seem stupid, but trust me, it's better than nothing. Because if somebody grabs your hair and throws you to the ground or pushes you, even a guy who's, say he looks scrawny and not that strong. Well, guess what? Even if he's a short guy, even if he looks scrawny, or another woman looks scrawny, or whatever, being pushed in the right areas is going to send your butt flying back. I don't care who you are. That's another point I definitely wanted to go over. So, pardon me for a sec. If I stand like this, okay, I see so many martial arts videos of people standing like this. Even the people who came to Bruce Lee, while he either kicked them or did his 1-inch punch, they all stood like this, straight. They weren't to the side. They weren't firmly planted. They stood squared up. Why would you do this? How is this at all showing any type of abilities or, I don't know, the force in which you can hit? Look, I can use one pinky. I lose balance instantly. So if I were to do the 1-inch punch to myself, yeah, I'm going to go flying back. I'm going to lose balance, and I'm just going to go flying back. If I can do it with one pinky, think if I had more force. If I were to snap and do it. So, even if I were to stand sideways like this, and I were to then generate as much energy and striking force from the ground to my feet, to my legs, to my hips, the body mechanics of it all working, up into my upper torso, okay, through my arm in just one snap. Of course, I'm going to generate an enormous amount of energy and transfer that out into my target. Now, would that ever be effective? Probably not. Would look cool as a finisher, I guess, in Mortal Kombat, but reality, if you're standing like this, you don't even need all that amount of adrenaline and power through you. Again, if I'm squared up, my feet are pointed straight, my toes, I can literally take one pinky. You can try it yourself if you don't believe me. Stand exactly as I'm standing, okay? Take one pinky, put it right in the middle of your sternum, and push. You're going to fall back on your heels, and depending on how hard you push, you may hit the wall. I mean, there's no way to so-called center yourself enough where somebody's going to generate that much force, and if you're squared up with your toes pointed towards them, I don't care who you are, that person is going to fall over. That's not very hard concept, but for some people, I mean, this isn't to discredit Bruce Lee in any possible way, or anybody's martial arts abilities, but this is an awareness for people who think that somebody who does that to somebody else is, oh my gosh, magical and mysterious and, they really know their stuff. Not really. Another thing is, if you're going to throw a punch, most people don't even know how to punch right. And it's the one that drives me nuts. People curve their wrist when they punch. Okay. You don't want to curve your wrist. You want it all in alignment. So your wrist is going to be slightly bent to the left or to the right, depending on the hand. If you bend it the other way, yeah, that's great. You're going to throw a hook like that? Okay, well, guess what? You miss or they step in. See that? If I curve my wrist, okay, that's what it looks like from the other side. I'm curving my wrist inward, which means it's going to snap. If I miss or I hit a wall or something, as soon as I make impact, say goodbye to my wrist. Now what? You want your wrist and your hand to be slightly turned outward, not inward. Outward. Which creates strength in the wrist versus bringing it this way, because there's nothing that is, the body mechanics aren't going to give you strength if you bend your wrist this way. You bend it outward, you have stronger edge, so to speak, a stronger blade on your wrist going up your arm. This is your blade. This is your blade. Blade of the foot, blade of the arm. This is where you want to either block or if you need to strike somebody with the forearm, whatever. These are things that can be used as so-called weapons against somebody else. But if you hit somebody with the top of your arm like this, or like this, or as people like to punch like this, I've had somebody punch me like this in the arm, joking around, they broke their thumb instantly. I just heard the snap, I look at them and I'm like, are you okay? He goes, yeah. Well, turned out he went to the hospital and yeah, he had a broken thumb because he was in a lot of pain. And the other thing is, if you are in pain with your hand, don't do what majority of people do, flicking it around like this. Doing this is just creating more blood flow and adrenaline going through your body. This alone is going to cause inflammation. So, quick knowledge on that. Paul Blogs, what's up? What's up? Thank you for coming to the stream. Truly appreciated. So, another thing is when people are able to do, how do I put it? Feats of strength, I suppose. If you are able to strike through paper, congratulations. I mean, I saw those videos of, I'm just going to call it as I saw it, Russian people putting out this slap foo or something. I don't know. They're like this and slapping paper and doing some kind of ballet kicks and things like that. That's great for flexibility. I mean, more power to you. But when you're trying to do these types of feats of strength or abilities to, attack somebody in a million different ways at full speed, remember, if you're going to demonstrate on one of your pupils, remember and see them as such. They're your pupils. You show them the same amount of respect as you show yourself. So if your ego is top-notch up there, great. Well, then respect theirs as such. So whatever you portray out, be humble enough to take back in as well. I cannot stand these videos of people beating the crap out of their students. Like, is it fun to punch somebody? I mean, if that's what you're into, okay. But it doesn't have to be a person. It can be, get a dummy, you know, set up different obstacles. I understand, people are stuck in their houses, whatever. But there is no need to be so brutal to your students. Even your instructors that you're trying to train. There's no need for it. Hurting somebody to show your ability in what you know and how you can take somebody down, that's great and all. But if you're hurting the people you're trying to train or teach, majority of them aren't going to want to come back. Majority of them aren't going to want to keep learning, or they're going to take on the same traits as an abusive family member. It's going to be passed down. They're going to then try to teach as they get more involved in your curriculum and be brutal to their students. So is it really worth it? I mean, and then on top of that, you may not even have the knowledge that you should to perform the certain so-called abilities or feats of strength. So there's a guy on YouTube, oh my gosh, this one really got to me. He took a machete because he thought he had some kind of magical iron skin / diamond skin, I don't know. But he was so deluded. He took a machete, slammed it right into his bicep. Or no, it was his forearm. And as soon as he hit that, it's a machete, man. Doubt it was clean, doubt it was sanitized, so it was not a clean cut. But as soon as he hit his arm, he knew at that moment he screwed up. You could see the actual gash, the bone. It was so graphic, and it was like, yeah, that's reality for you. Trying to take on people with knives? A machete you can have a better chance at seeing. A knife can be concealed, and it can stab repeatedly. It doesn't need to reload. You get somebody who can actually move their hands very fast with a knife or a shiv, homemade shiv. You're bleeding out. You're bleeding out, and you're bleeding out hard. If they go to any vital points up here on the neck, chances of survival are even less. Even certain parts on the body, which I'm not going to go over. I do know them, but I'm not going to, give that kind of, if you want to learn that, do it on another channel. But I'm not teaching here how to kill. I'm teaching here how to save yourself or people around you from getting injured. And that's the other thing. When a confrontation happens, people get involved. Yeah, some of those are their buddies or they're not. Some are innocent people. So if they decide to throw you across the room and you slam into another person, say a girl just holding her drink or even a guy holding his drink, in a bar, was it worth it? Yeah, it wasn't your fault that you knocked them down, but in a way, it was. You could have avoided the situation by just walking away, stepping away. If you get followed, then, do what you need to protect yourself. But there is no need to escalate a situation. Drop your ego. That's the best advice I can give you. And this is coming from personal experience as well. It's not worth having an ego, especially if you're risking the life of yours or other people around you. Knowing your surroundings, knowing exits, even if it's not just self-defense tips, it's being aware is important in just about everything. Okay, what if there's, let's say, a fire? Why do you think they mention where the exits are on planes? Why do you think they mention exits in a movie theater. You know what I mean? Yeah, some of it is safety in terms of if there's an active shooter, whatever. But at the same time, fires do happen. So, and what do you do in where everyone else is panicking around you? What do you do? Do you follow the crowd and get shot or burned alive, or find yourself in the predicament that you won't be able to get out of? Or do you try to train yourself to lower your adrenaline, lower your actions, and think a little more clearly? Because if you take the first step, tell you what, I've been loud, I've been right up there. I can see my meter just all the way into the red zone. But if I lower my voice and I sit back and I'm just calm, or if I'm standing and I drop my hands, you can't even see my facial expressions, but you can tell all that adrenaline has now dropped. So, my point is, there are simple steps that you can take in every situation. I'm not talking about self-defense. I'm not talking about, how to disengage by engaging. I'm talking about your body actions, your natural reflex, your way of thinking. It doesn't always have to end with some kind of extreme measures. It doesn't always have to end with you feeling like the winner. Yeah, it sucks. So you walked away. They called you a yada yada. Everyone turns off their phone and looks at you and starts laughing at you. So what? At least you live. If they were in your predicament, what would happen? They get all heated and they show off? Well, guess what? That ego's gonna last not too long. Because there's always somebody, first of all, stronger, faster, and crazier than you. So whatever you think you're going to do to another person, I promise you, their friends or them just won't end well. Just won't end well. And if you go to prison, I've had friends gone to prison, you're going to learn real quick you're nothing in that jungle. So, I guess it comes down to what kind of person are you? Are you a person that's willing to... I read this a bit ago, but it's definitely true. What are you willing to die for? Is it money? Is it people? Is it your friends, your family? People you don't even know? That defines who you are. That defines pretty much everything about you to the core. What are you willing to die for? If it is money, well, okay. That's cool. That's not my way, but, I respect each in their own. I honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's worth it. If you're willing to die for your friends and family, more power to you. I think that's wonderful. You have morals. If your morals go beyond that and you're willing to die for a complete stranger, then that is sacred. Hold on to that. Life is precious. Things get taken for granted quite often. And, living proof of that. For a while, I didn't have my speech. I wasn't going to announce it, nor make a big deal about it. But I just want people to understand that life is more precious than they think. After my accident, I wasn't able to speak well. I was stammering. Difference between stammering and stuttering. Stuttering, you do like every couple of words. Stammering, you can't even get one word out. It is an extreme form of stuttering, so to speak. Every time I go back to this accident, my brain has created a mental block to where, like now, see? Every time I try to recall what happened or try to talk about it, the stammering happens, and it's something I most likely got to live with for the rest of my life. We all got something. We all got something. So lighter note, just live your life. Be happy. If YOLO is your way of living life, each their own, I guess. But make sure you're still gonna live. Make sure you're still gonna have fun. You're gonna be with your friends. I know there are other obstacles in this world currently going on. Not gonna go into that. But main point is, do what you can for yourself to be happy. And try not to get in other people's way of happiness, no matter what it be. I know this video was a little abrupt for some, a little too straightforward. I apologize for that, but it was supposed to be more informative than anything else. I guess, if you didn't like the stream, if you don't want to hear it, then please go find another channel. I'm just doing what I can to help those who do want to listen, who do want to protect themselves and their family. Do I have all the knowledge? No. Do I have some? Yes. Do I educate myself as much as possible? I do, especially in martial arts is my way of life. It's how I've gotten through the hardest times and very dangerous situations. And please don't think I'm lying on that. Where you think you've been in dangerous situations. Let's just say I was number one on a list that you don't ever want to be on. So, that apart, treasure your life, treasure other people's lives. There are many ways you could end somebody's happiness or their life. But if you have any ounce of morals and dignity in you, you won't take that risk. You won't take that chance. Because I promise you, it will lead you to jail. You will end up in jail. If that's the life you want, then okay. There's nothing I can do to convince you otherwise. But honestly, in my personal opinion, it's not worth it. it's really being incarcerated or anything of the sort. Watch 60 Days if you don't believe me. Watch 60 Days. And that's as real as it gets. Right there. But, as a wonderful friend said to me, there's a difference between seeing something and actually living something. I hope that none of you actually live that. And if you are, how do I put this? If you're somebody who wants or takes advantage of other people, then all I gotta say is, I know karma involves, being reincarnated, obviously, but instant karma, it will catch up to you. In one shape, way, form, or another. I believe it. And if you don't, that's okay. I don't wish anything negative on people, but they reap what they sow. So, it's all up to you at this point. Who you are, what you are, and what defines you all comes down to, what are you willing to die for? I truly appreciate Paul Blogs for stopping by. Anybody who is watching the stream or will be watching the stream later, thank you. There are many things in this world that can create chaos, that can drive someone to be upset or angry. You know where I find the hardest thing to do is, as many do, finding the positivity in things, finding the happiness, the joy. Everyone's so worried about these labels. Why not just live? Just be kind to one another. Help somebody in need. If somebody is being a Karen, don't open your phone and go chase them down. It's not worth it. Let others do that, I guess. I don't know. It's not your problem. Don't worry about it. There are so many ways that people don't see. There are ways out before it gets to the point of actual physical confrontation. If you approach an animal, we're all mammals. If you approach an animal with a angry, aggressive attitude, you think they're going to back down? Yeah, for the first couple of times, maybe. But no matter who you are, that so-called scared little puppy is going to turn into one vicious dog eventually. You think you're going to put them down and out of their misery? It's not going to bring you any happiness. You're going to jail. Have fun. You don't think that matters? Well, then that tells you who you are, doesn't it? My point is not to create this anger and resentment towards each other. My point is, think about it. If you have somebody who's very upset, very angry, and you talk to them in a calmer voice, not patronizing them, but talk to them in a calmer voice, bringing down your level of aggression, your ego, dropping it, even just a little, you will watch another person's reaction most likely start to drop as well. If it doesn't, and they start to escalate a situation, be aware of your surroundings and walk away. That doesn't mean turn your back to them. You don't have to look them in the eye either. Watch their body movements.
but do not clench a fist. Do not bring up your arms. If your forearms go past your waist, I promise you, that looks like you're gonna fight. Even like this. Hey man, I think everybody on YouTube or anybody in the world knows at this point who watches any social media, doing this is already gonna go into this, or it's gonna go into something of a fist. Keep your hands, palms away from your body, and most likely keep them at your side. If you keep them at your side and you bring your palms up like this, like, okay, instead of coming around to strike, you can go straight up, you can go straight forward. From here, I can strike as many times as I want. But if I'm here, well, put my hands up here, don't hurt me. Punch straight in the face, I promise you. The reaction between this, like, I don't know, I have nothing to hide, I'm going to walk away, but keep your chin down. Big tip, keep that chin down. When you're walking away, make sure it's still down. So chin down, kind of give the confused, hey, you win, okay? Versus your head up high and you're like looking at the sky or something, you're like, I don't know what you want, man. Because what does this look like? What's up? What are you going to do? You going to fight me? That person will deck you, I promise you. Even if they do deck you and your chin's down, most likely you're going to have a better chance of recovering. Actually, you will have a better chance of recovering. It may not be much, but it might be enough to save your life. Keeping your chin up, as soon as you get decked, where the head goes, the body follows. Keeping your chin down. Look at their chest. What moves before anything else? This is, think of it a pole right through a person's body, okay? This whole center is going to give away everything. Because this
Core, to generate any type of power into any type of their heads or speed, you can't not have this move. If this moves, then you know where to strike. Yeah, they can throw a fake, but you're still going to see the movement in the shoulders. And enough where you can protect your face and most of your body. But if your hands are up here, yeah, I can bring them in. Okay, cool. Tell you what, the moment your hands come up like this, you're just going to get decked. Right in the face, you're going to get punched, you're going to get grabbed. Somebody goes like this to me and tries to act all innocent. Hey man, I wasn't trying to pick your pocket or whatever. The moment I see that shoulder move, I'm grabbing their arm. That's giving me leverage. And that's giving me an extreme amount of force that I'm about to apply. That's, just the way things are. If your hands are down like this, it looks a lot more passive. And how you stand is very important. If you stand like you're a soldier, if you stand like you're, some type of martial arts, somebody's going to challenge that. Somebody's going to question that and challenge it. Walk away as if you're not angry or egotistical or anything. Just walk away. Keep your eyes mostly on their chest. And don't ever turn your eyes off them until you're a good enough distance and you're still being aware of your surroundings. Because I promise you, if you just turn your back to them, they're going to deck you in the back of the head. This is real. There aren't any rules. Or somebody's going to come flying from the side, blindside you.
if you watch a lot of fights, especially people on the streets, if they're drunk, whatever, where do they get attacked? The blind side. So be aware. Just be aware. And don't raise your voice. And please keep that chin down. Because your chances of being hit and recovering are far greater than having your chin up. Every fighter in MMA, if that's what you respect, if that's what you believe in, or if that's what you want, look at how they fight. Majority of them keep their chin down. How do they train? Chin down. How do they box? Chin down. Down. Protecting. Versus up here. Because as soon as you get knocked here, you're going to get knocked there. And it's just going to be a brutal beatdown. If your head's tucked, you have more mobility to move out of the way. If you can move your head fast, you can move your body fast. If you move your head this way, well, the body kind of slowly follows. I mean, look, chin's up, moving my head, and the body slowly sways. My chin's down. I can dart out of the way and not give myself a whiplash. Chin up, neck exposed. I get punched in the Adam's apple. I get punched in the side. I get clocked in the jaw. Pressure points. Boom, boom. There's pressure points all along here. Right here, you can get knocked out. Definitely here. So, if your chin is down, if your chin's already down and you get punched and you're able to recover and you keep it lower, now you have more mobility. You can move a lot easier. So, another safety tip, chin down. Chin down. Eyes on their chest. If you can't see their legs, then go a little further. But try to keep it centered. Because any movement, I can do this, I can punch you like this, I can kick you like this. If I try to roundhouse you and I don't even torque my hips, I have no power to generate. If I even try to, take out your leg and trip you, it takes my hips rotating to do that. Punching, okay, that's great. Punching straight, yep. I promise you, this won't even hurt anyone. I can do it fast. I can rotate it. It's not going to do anything to somebody. So if you punch me like this, okay, if I punch you like that, what is that doing? Nothing. But the moment I generate that energy coming from the floor to my feet, all the way up through my body, and especially my hips, and I throw that punch, I can throw with an extreme amount of force, and I can throw it fast. So, that's my point. Watch the center. Center will give everything away. Even if you don't see the punch coming, even a hook, okay, a cross, a jab, it's still going to involve, even if someone doesn't know any martial arts, it's still going to involve the hips to generate any type of momentum and force and power. Mass times speed. So, again, I can punch you like this all I want. Is that doing anything? Unless I'm over you and I'm dropping my... But even that, generating the power behind that still comes from the hips. If I'm going like this to you, yeah, it's annoying. It's like a fly. I mean, I guess. Sure, if you just want to annoy the person.
So my point is, chin down, watch their core, watch their center. Because, yeah, you can be punched at, you can be kicked. Is it going to have any power to it? No. So, even if somebody's trying to hurt you and beat you up and they have no martial arts experience and they're not throwing any type of power, don't deck them. Don't give them every amount of energy. Use control. Somebody throws a punch at you, walk away. If you can, and it just annoyed you or it made you upset, even if they get you across the face, if they don't continue and you felt that it was nothing, drop your ego, walk away. Not worth it. Because the next thing could be a setup for them grabbing a bottle and slamming it across your face. Now they have an object in their hand. Now they're increasing their mass and their speed. The object's bigger than, their dinky little punches. Maybe I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a lot more effective no matter who you are. How do you turn somebody with no martial arts experience into a killer with their fists? Put something in their hand, whatever it be. A knife, shiv, or a bottle, a roll of quarters, a roll of whatever, a lighter, anything. It doesn't take much as much as the body can endure pain, mentally it can only handle so much. And I am living proof of that one. And so are many others who've had head injuries. Your brain can only take so much hits. So many hits. That fluid loshing, flopping around there. Yeah, well, that's cool and all, but you add alcohol to the mix. Because you're coming from a bar, you're all drunk. Now you're dehydrated, what happens? Not a lot of fluid up there. What causes concussions? The brain bouncing around the skull. So pick one. As my driver instructor said, pick one. Do you lose your eye? Do you lose your ability to speak? Do you lose a limb? I mean, hey, that person has a machete. That person has a machete too. Oh, guess you're livestock, because you want to try to look all cool. There's a video of that on the internet as well. Martial artists try to take on guys with machetes. Yeah, he did excellent for a few seconds, but then he got tired. The other thing is blunt objects in the hand, or even big objects in the hand. Yeah, it gets tiresome to hold them up, so what do? Let gravity take over. It doesn't matter, it's got a blade. Or even if it doesn't, that's still force applied with gravity to your skull, to your body parts. Take a rolled up magazine. That can be a weapon too. That's hard enough to break bone. So these people who believe that they can throw somebody across the room with the keto as easy as, yeah, that's compliance. That is somebody who's paid to act. That's a paid actor. It doesn't even have to be for a movie or a TV show. You can throw somebody easily if you pay him. If I paid somebody $200 off the street, I'd be like, here, can I throw you? If I told them they could make money off this constantly. Just grab. All you have to do is just go with the flow. Reality, somebody grabs me. Reflex, I'm going to yank back. Or to the side. But then obviously there's a lot more to it. There's my reflexes kicking in, which is every move is going to be
pretty serious, but my point is, don't let fake martial arts fool you. Don't let money become your ultimate goal in life. There's so much more to it. But if that is you, hey, each their own. So that concludes this live stream for now. I hope everyone stays safe. You know, as much as I said, I wouldn't give any statements on what's going on out there. Your choice. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. But don't be shocked at the consequences, good or bad. So, you have a right to do many things, but don't feel that you are privileged in all of them. Because there's a big difference between having rights and being privileged. So, don't be that person. And last thing, I hate labels. This whole Karen thing. I've met different Karens, and they are wonderful. So this whole stigma of the label, even when my own father said it to me, Karen, as a negative indentation, I kind of look at him and I was like, okay. I don't like those labels. What if it was my name? What if it was your name? Just a bunch of malarkey. Doesn't matter names. It's a personality. It's their actions that speak louder than their current words. Or even their words. But don't give them a person's name because one person decided to step out of line. That is creating a stigma and a resentment against the name, against people who are good people with the name. It's ridiculous. In my personal opinion, that's absolutely crazy. You're judging this person, this single person, okay. But to go off and say that, oh, they're being a Karen. Really? Really? What is that teaching our, youth? We're creating more separation. Don't we have enough of that already? So, just thoughts out there to think about. That's my personal opinion. And it's a little touchy for me, so I won't go on it anymore. But please, be safe out there, be happy, and help where you can. This is GhostCrow's signing out. Oh, wrong hand. Signing off, and I'll catch you all next time. Much love.